Hello, and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. I am Jordan. With me is Luke. How are you doing, Luke?
I'm doing well.
Here we
Out
are.
here living my life.
We are here in the month of December. When you are listening to this, it will be December 1st. Granted, if you're listening to it immediately, the day that the episode is released, but we're here. It's Christmas
I
time.
guarantee you it will be December.
I guarantee you,
Unless you're
regardless.
listening to this further into the future, which, what are you doing? We have new stuff.
Either December is here or December came and went.
Yeah.
Depending on how
You know all about December by the time you listen to this.
all the things that have occurred and happened. It's great.
You know,
It's great. We're having a really good
that's
Christmas.
pretty cool, that thing that happened. Yeah.
Wow, can't believe it, future
Yeah.
Luke.
An amazing thing.
You have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. Yeah. You know how, yeah. You don't know. But so everything was going okay. One thing you do know is I am prone to migraines.
Yes.
And I had felt one coming on like earlier in the week. And it's one of those things where you just, you know, I'm sure most people don't know who don't deal with this. They wouldn't understand, but it's this, at least for me, I'm sure everyone with their migraines is a little different.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I've found from talking to other people. Everyone's kind of a little different. Their remedies are a little different. But for me, there's like this feeling in my eyes where it's like I can feel like I'm on the edge of it, but it doesn't always happen. One of the worst things about the migraines that I get is that the almost the entire right side of my vision goes
Mhm.
blurry to where it's like you don't even want to like look around. You really don't even want to open your eyes. It's just like you just like look down. It's like I just don't even want to think right now. It just makes you just like shut down.
Jeez.
Anyways, enough of me whining. It sucks. If you get migraines, you know what I mean.
Here are all
But
sorts of like crazy different symptoms for different people, and like
yeah,
it's like, what can't a migraine do? It's like some people are like, oh, I'm losing vision in half my face, like you, and some other people are like, oh, I
yeah.
smell cheese or something like that. I don't know, maybe that's a thing, but I keep hearing like all sorts of insane things that migraines do to your body. It's
It's
awful.
so strange. I remember when I was like, I want to say I was like 11, 12, something like that, when it first started happening. And we
Mhm.
went to the doctor, and the doctor's just like, I basically, I don't know what to tell you. It's just one of those things that happens. There's not a lot I can do. It's just something he's going to have to deal with. They might go away as he gets older, they might not. You know, basically, science just hasn't figured this out.
That's
It's
so
just,
weird.
it is what it is. But anyways, I had felt it earlier in the week before Thanksgiving coming on, and it didn't come on. And then, of course, right as we're loading up our plates for Thanksgiving dinner,
Oh
like
no.
literally right then, I'm like, I'm definitely getting it. I can feel it. And sometimes, for some reason, if I like really down a bunch of water and like sit down, like really hydrate, I haven't figured it out, but it seems like maybe it helps that I'm more hydrated. That seems to maybe stop it from coming on. I don't know. That has happened, it's been like, did I really stop it, or was it really not going to come on? You don't really know.
Yeah,
You never know.
exactly.
You never know if you stopped it or if it would have happened. So, anyways, I got the blurred vision right as we're like sitting down at the table, and yeah, it sucked.
That's awful.
Luckily, it wasn't one of the worst ones. It seems like if I get the Tylenol like right as funny as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of Christmas Vacation, where he like
Hey.
goes on his rant about his boss and all that. Holy Merry Christmas! Where's the Tylenol? Yeah, but yeah, it sucked. So yeah, enough about me whining. Other than that, it was good. We got to use my sister's hot tub and hang out with the nephews. One of my nephews. So the night before we got there, the older nephew who's just turned 3 2 months ago,
Oh no.
and then his younger brother is just turned 1 about 1 month ago. The younger one had his hand in the door frame, and the older one
Oh
took
no.
the door and with both hands slammed it as hard as he could. I don't think he did it on purpose. He just it's just how he is. He's kind of a wild child. He just gets
Yeah.
excited, and I definitely don't think there's any chance he meant to do that. He just
Yes, before consequences is a thing you learn about. Like
he was just being a kid.
I remember like doing like an elbow drop on one of my friend's stomachs, and he was like, but for some reason I didn't put two and two together when I was a little
Yeah.
kid. I was like, oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. I was like, well,
Yeah.
what'd you think would happen? I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
a stupid kid.
It's crazy how your mind changes as you get older.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he cut like maybe half-inch off the end of his finger.
Oh,
Completely cut it all the way off. So yeah, they
poor
went to
guy.
the ER and stitch it on. But there's not a lot else I can say. They're still in the middle of all that. They're having to go to a hand surgeon. It's
Mm.
not great. I mean, it obviously could be worse. It could be the whole finger. Could be his hand. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
a lot of things. But they said they think it might grow back. But the finger that they stitched back on is not taking. So
It's awful.
yeah, it's unfortunate. But just part of being alive, I guess.
Yeah. Jeez, man. Kids. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Well, at least you're having one in a couple months, Luke.
Yeah,
Better start patting those doors.
I know. We were talking about that. I guess one of my wife's friends was saying that she had put up cut in half pool noodles on the like doors while they were like young enough to be doing that kind of stuff.
That's
I
smart.
guess it's really ugly, but I guess if it keeps people from cutting their fingers off,
Some doors are
That'd be worth it.
honestly like death traps. Like I remember like I got a door slammed on my hand when I was a little kid, and it was nowhere near as bad as what happened with your nephew, of course, but like it was like that door was like a guillotine. It like
Yeah.
slammed shut. It was like
Mhm.
bam. It was like, you know, you have the actual
Mhm.
door, and then like we had a weird like front door where it was an actual door, and then it was like a
Mhm.
porch style door,
Yeah.
which you
Mhm.
know, the hydraulic powered or
Yeah.
whatever. And for some reason
My
it would
parents
just
had one of those. Yeah.
hard metal, just boom. Could take a
Move
person's head
your
off.
fingers, boom.
Exactly.
I'm coming
Doors,
through.
some doors, man. But yeah, other than that, the sounds actually, never mind. I was about to say other than that, it sounds great, but I don't know that. Was the food good?
I mean, it all went good. My migraine, it sucked in the moment, but it didn't ruin like the holiday or anything. It just was unfortunate for like an hour or so. Like I said, the Tylenol really did help. It was not one of the most painful ones. Some of them I will literally wake up 2 days later and still like it's like I've been through like the ringer, but inside my brain. It's weird. So it wasn't like that. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I feel like I'm just sitting here whining. I hate doing that. What did you
Yeah,
get up to? You took some trip, didn't you?
Yeah, I
You
went
got to go
to
somewhere.
Tennessee. It was pretty good. The drive up, you know, we talked last week about like how sometimes you take like a long trip in the car and you're driving, and then when you get there, you're just like, whew,
Yeah.
I survived. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
was definitely one of those trips. There was traffic out the wazoo. Having to go through Atlanta traffic is bad enough just on a regular day. But
Did you go on Wednesday?
Wednesday night, it was like an 8.5
Yeah.
hour trip. It was more like 12.
After work? Oof.
No, I must be mistaken. I took Wednesday off. No, I took Wednesday
good.
off, and we went in the morning and got there later part of the evening, and
We drove Wednesday too. It was intense.
awful.
And it was actually Thanksgiving Day was our anniversary. So we went over
right.
we went down to Lakeland,
Happy anniversary, man.
time with the family, and then we drove over to Orlando to go to the melting pot, and then we went to Epcot, and the traffic. Oh, we must have sat 40
man.
extra minutes. It was like a half-hour drive that turned into an hour and 10 minutes.
It's bad. Like they say, like Thanksgiving traffic's usually the worst. Like that's what I found too. Like Christmas isn't usually that bad, but Thanksgiving, holy hot dog. Like I remember
And
driving.
I can't imagine on a regular year it's probably even worse.
Jeez. I remember like driving like this a few years ago, several I think, driving back from Disney like the day after Thanksgiving or something like that. And I remember like I was with my friend Amy, and we just were driving, and I saw like probably like 6 cars flipped over the course
Oh my gosh.
of that trip. I'm like, what happened?
Insane.
But yeah, other than the drive down, which was awful, everything else was pretty good. Great food. Yeah, it was good. Gatlinburg area, it's one of those
We were
things
just
where,
there earlier in this year.
oh, nice.
That was our last trip.
Like the weather was pretty good. It's nice to see leaves that are a different color of brown
Yeah.
than what we're used to in Florida. But it wasn't like cold to the point where I felt like I was anywhere different. Sometimes you want it like I don't know. It's still early, but I feel like often when I travel up north anywhere during like November and beyond, I just have expectations. I want it to be cold, but I think
Yeah.
we just missed it. It's snowing like right now.
Probably going to
there.
be colder here tonight than it was up there. it sounds
Absolutely,
like.
100%,
We got a freeze warning.
100%. It's gonna be very cold. It's gonna be a cold snap tonight here, and and
Yeah.
let me look at the weather to see what it's like over where we were.
Going to be 34 tonight, 30 tomorrow night.
Oh my god. Well, I appreciate that, but just because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Love it.
But anyways, it was nice. Did you do any more Black Friday online shopping?
I did. Yeah. That was actually, I'm glad you reminded me that. That was something. So we, I've been doing all these remodels, and part of it has been like, what are we going to do with the sound? We've been considering a lot of options for our home theater. So I guess it's somewhat pertinent to our podcast, typical subjects.
This might be very more pertinent than Go continue.
And all this other garbage that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Migraines, cutting off fingers.
Bad traffic. Yeah, go ahead.
So we've been looking, I've been looking into all kinds of things and, weighing the cost and how much work it's going to take. And one of the big things with your typical audio setup is the fact that you have to power each speaker. So if you go with built-ins, which means you cut a hole in your wall and you put a speaker into the wall, it's really cool. It's awesome. And I was going to do that. But the fact of the matter is, it's hard to justify all the money you have to spend between speakers and amps and all that.
Yeah.
And there's such a trend in powered speakers that, you have to run power to, but other than that, you just plug them in. They work over Wi-Fi. They work over, okay, let me get to the point. We went with Sonos.
Okay. Wow. Nice.
We've gone with Sonos. Yeah, I thought about the in-wall Sonos system, and it was just like, I have to buy an $800 Sonos amp to power the, how much were they? $379 speakers. So I have to buy all the speakers and then the $800 amp. And it was just like, it just doesn't seem like a good use of money. I just don't think that that's going to be worth it. I mean, it's way more than I wanted to spend anyways. But on top of that, it's like, I just don't think I'm going to get the advantage of that over just buying powered speakers. So the Beam, which is the lesser of the two bars that Sonos has, they have the Arc and the Beam. The Beam was on the Black Friday sale. The Arc was not on sale. If it had been on sale, I might have considered it. The cool thing about the Arc that they add with the Arc is that it has more speakers, but not only that, it has upward firing speakers for Dolby Atmos. But it was $800. So it was a little pricey. So tonight, Cyber Monday, I went ahead and bought 2 more Sonos. So I'm going to do, at least to start, see how I like it, 2 speakers behind me or to the sides of me, and then run the Beam in the front. The Beam, I am blown away with how good that thing sounds. I can only imagine how good the Arc must sound, but it's a really cool thing where they've tuned it, obviously to have the right amount of power for the speakers that are in there. That's one of the cool things about powered speakers. They're appropriately powered versus you having, to do your research on what size receiver and how much wattage it sends out to each channel. That's like the big thing with, normal home stereo. But yeah, the bar is like just appropriately powered as it amps up. And not only that, the level is tuned to where it allows you to hear the voice track and also have the music like surround you. Yeah. It's all simulated because it's just coming from one bar, but it does a really good job. And I think it'll sound good with the 2 speakers.
That's awesome. I got to come by and hear that.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear it too. I have it in Best Buy pickup. I've been checking it, and Oh my gosh, Jordan. So I picked up the Beam at Best Buy pickup and it is crazy. It
Yeah.
must be like more than half the people are doing pickup instead of actually like shopping in the store, because there was a line of like 30 people outside the store for store pickup.
Yep.
And then every single one of the parking spots and all the adjacent parking spots where people sitting in their cars waiting on things. It's like, I don't even mind going in the store, like,
Yeah, they
but they
closed
don't
it
even let you
inside. Yeah.
anymore. Like, people were going in, but you couldn't do any like pickup for products.
You could
So
just shop, yeah, basically, and check
yeah,
out.
it's kind of annoying, but yeah, they're busy. Good for them. I'm glad to see that somebody's at least making some money in this tough times for business. What were you going to say though?
Yeah, no, I have gone a different way with my sound setup too. For
Mhm.
several years at this point, I think actually, yeah, several years. I've gone the whole thing where I've had uh AV receiver
We
and
kind of had a similar setup, really. You
yeah.
just had more speakers than I did.
Yeah, but the thing is like I wasn't really taking advantage of anything because the whole thing is like where are you gonna run the wires, right? That's the whole thing. Are you gonna run them
Yeah.
up the ceiling? You're gonna put them in the wall? What are you gonna do? And so
Hmm.
especially when you move several times, it's like my
Yeah.
surround sound speakers were just collecting dust at this point, where it's like this isn't. And even when I had them at a certain place, I just wasn't happy with it. I'm like, I don't feel like this adds very much. I don't know if it was the speakers
Hmm.
or the receiver or whatever, but there was a point where went over to a friend's house and he just had a simple setup and I was like, this sounds so much better than what I have, like so much better. And
Hmm.
it's like, and it definitely has less work. It takes up less real estate in your home. So yeah, we went with a sound bar option, 5.1 that has two surround speakers that we put like kind of like just a little bit behind us, each one
Yeah.
on a
So similar to
stand.
what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
exactly. Similar to what you're talking about with
Hmm.
a sound bar on the entertainment center with a subwoofer, and it sounds so much better, like so much better. I went ahead, sold my old system with a giant subwoofer, and just sounds so much better. Like it actually, I'm like, holy crap! So this is what surround sound here. I can actually hear like the atmosphere and the left and right channels and everything. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, oh my god, this is great. And I feel like honestly, it's like I feel like a fool after all that because I'm like I invested a lot into that like sound
Well, for a
system.
long time, these things didn't exist at this level either, though. So
Yeah,
it is kind of recent.
you're right,
And
and
bars have
yeah,
evolved a lot from when I first heard the first one. They were, yeah, they
awful.
left a lot to be desired. And there's a
Absolutely.
lot of brands that still do. So,
The fact that you can have a bar that has Sony Atmos. I mean, the one I have doesn't, but the fact that you can that's even a thing, that's
yeah,
crazy. That's crazy. They can get that level of sound quality and from a bar. That's awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, I
I'd be
mean,
interested to compare to a real Atmos. I mean,
oh, damn sure.
obviously, it's not going to be as good, but I wonder at what level it is.
And sometimes it's like you gotta look and be like, is this gonna be an accessible setup for me to have all these giant speakers and have to run everything via speaker wire back to the sound, like back to
Yeah.
the receiver? I mean, no,
Is everyone going to be okay with that in your house? Yeah.
exactly. And we're here over trying to like, oh crap, we gotta hide the speaker wire in a way where the cat's
Yeah.
not gonna be able to get to it and stuff like that. And just like we were both kind of threw our hands up and we were like, whatever, we're done. And we can just sell all this stuff and get pretty much what we're gonna spend. And so yeah, we did that and thank God it worked out great. It's I'm really enjoying that and I feel like it's not that much money to have like so much better of
Yeah.
us. You can do it in a way like the way we have them. Like, oh my God, this is so much more discreet and than it ever was. But yeah, Black Friday, good. It was a good deal. It was like 150 for it was
Yeah.
a Vizio, and it was not like a big
Hmm.
high end one, but well reviewed. It sounds
Hmm.
great. But yeah, great. That's awesome. That I gotta definitely hear that Sonos. Sonos is just they sound so good. I definitely gotta hear that.
Yeah, my fear was Sonos, and one of the reasons I've stayed away from them for so long, and some of my fear has been proven correct, is that once they don't want to support the older stuff, you're out of luck,
Hmm.
and they're so expensive that it's like, do I really want to invest in your ecosystem, and then my gear gets phased out, 4 or 5 years down the road?
Yeah.
So, that's still my fear, but it was just the fact that I could have this wireless setup and I knew it was going to sound good for so much cheaper than what I was talking about. Because even if I'd look to like the Polk in wall because a lot of these walls are getting opened up anyway, so it's like I might as well just put them in the wall. But yeah, it was just like, man, I don't know. 'Cause I would have had to build like an entire room or like a
Yeah.
shelf built in to like put all that stuff in to then run the wires through the walls and all that. And it's like, I just don't want to do all that. And
Then we have
I'm
to
probably going to
change
end up spending the same
something.
amount of money.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's going to sound better because I know the Sonos are like tuned for this and they're being updated. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm still concerned about. I don't know if you know like what happened with Sonos, but they announced like everything before Gen 2, basically Gen 2 and older are just done. They're not only are they not going to work, they're going to send a digital code that will make your gear like not work at all.
What?
Yeah.
So they
So,
self-destruct all of their old stuff, right?
well, you won't be able to use them as the whole home audio. You'll be able to use them as speakers, but like you won't be able to use them with their software anymore.
That's
So, yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know.
don't do that again, please.
There's cool things about them, and then there's frustrating things, and I hope things like the HomePod and Google Home and Alexa, all that stuff, pushes Sonos to be more open and inclusive and not
Yeah.
jerks.
Please don't do that again.
So,
Well, cool. You know what? This is probably our longest preamble before watching / playing, but whatever.
hey,
There's not a lot going on.
improperly packaged.
It
Do
is
what we want.
very improperly indeed. Very proper indeed. But so yeah, let's go ahead and get into watching / playing. I believe you went last week, so let's see. What I've been watching / playing / listening to. I'm sorry. This week, honestly, I haven't been listening to much. Like it's really frustrating not having a ton of new stuff because you're not like when you're driving a long distance and you're like, I don't feel like fiddling with my phone for ages. I kind of just want to put stuff on, and it ends up being like stuff that Spotify. I was going to talk about this. The thing that Spotify does. It's the strangest thing. There's a few sections where I'm like, okay, great. I like the new release for you. Most of the time, I'm like, yeah, I listened to this and I'm glad you told me that this new thing is out. Thank you. But sections that I find absolutely useless is the jump back in section where it says, oh, jump back into this. So it's usually the same 6 things. And I'm like, I listened to that once ages ago.
Yeah.
Why is this here? Like one day I randomly listened to Third Eye Blind's self-titled album, and I'm like, all right, I haven't listened to Third Eye Blind in a long time. And I just listened to a couple songs. It's still on there. That was months ago. What in the
really
world?
should jump back in, Jordan.
You really should jump back in. It's like, what? It's very strange. It doesn't make any sense. The other one is your favorite albums and songs. Really? Sometimes I look at this, I'm like, that's my favorite album and song. I'm like, I listened to this EP again months ago, not very frequently. Swimming with Dolphins, Ambient Blue EP. Pretty good. It's all right. Pretty cool. I don't know if it's one of my favorite albums of all time. And again, it's been here for months. What's going on? So I really don't get Spotify in that sense. We praise Spotify for its value and way and navigation and everything, but there's a few things that are really stupid. But this is all really beside the point. What I've been listening to, it's Christmas time, man. I'm trying to find some new Christmas stuff, and
I got something for you.
Oh, I got something for you, ass. So it's the Christmas album by Leslie Odom Jr. So Leslie Odom Jr.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's great. I mainly know him from Hamilton, playing Aaron Burr, but he had a Christmas album called, very originally, The Christmas Album, and it's very good. My wife sent it to me, and I was like, holy crap, he has a Christmas album out. The first track, Snow, is so hype. I like it a lot. It's a great Christmas song. I think it's one of the few originals on there, if not maybe the only one, but it's very good.
Original Christmas songs are honestly few and far between.
I love original Christmas songs. I remember like my mom like playing like original Christmas songs for her, and she was like, "Why do they have to make new ones?" I was like, "Wait, what?" Like it's like a genre
That
for
is
me.
an old person thing to say,
It
right there.
really is. Why don't it's the one that came out when I was your age? But
Why they gotta make all this new music?
like they had their run. Just keep the
That's
ones you
great.
have.
We perfected it in my day.
We did it.
They should just cover all our songs from the 70s. Some of that might not be completely untrue,
No, but
but there's good stuff coming out.
absolutely. And I'm glad to hear it. What about you? What you got for me?
So the
Search
Goo Goo
bar is
Dolls.
open. Oh,
The Goo Goo Dolls are a band that I've just enjoyed ever since I first heard them. They just have so many good songs, in my opinion. And they released a new song and they released a new album. And these two things are actually not related. My Spotify is freaking out once I want to show this stuff. So they released a new song. Okay, maybe this isn't a new song. Well, it was in my like discovery thing, so I thought it was new. I've lost it now. Shoot.
seeing the Goo Goo Dolls, one of the many things that COVID has
So
ruined. I was gonna see them.
in the album from 2019, Miracle Pill, I guess there was a single that they like promoted onto my "You should listen to this" kind of thing called
Mhm.
"Lost." So I really enjoyed that song from that album. Actually, I haven't gotten to listen to the whole album. I want to.
I
So
did
yeah,
in preparation
Lost.
for the concert that I was never able to go to.
Oh yeah.
It's very good,
Sweet.
actually.
So yeah, I like that song "Lost." But they just recently, when was it? October 30th, released a Christmas album called "It's Christmas All Over." So
Yeah, baby.
I haven't actually listened to it at all, but I will because I think these guys are just really talented and yeah, they're great.
Looking forward to that. Definitely gonna listen to that. I just downloaded that beast. But like the thing that's kind of annoying about when Christmas albums come out on Spotify is that okay, so we're really kind of religious about this thing. I mean, not only because Christmas and all that stuff, but when the clock tolls 12 o'clock for December 1st, that's our starting gun to say, okay, Christmas music, Christmas movies, go. For the most part, for me, actually, Christmas music begins after Thanksgiving, and then Christmas movies is December 1st. And
Yeah.
but when all these Christmas albums are dropping early November, it's very hard to remember some of the ones. And I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta listen to that. So,
Oh yeah.
uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I save the playlist just to like my playlist thing and just like don't forget. You need to
Yeah.
listen to this. There's this band that did who is it? That Texas Sun song with Leon Bridges.
Hmm.
I'm sure you know Leon Bridges.
Yep. Mhm.
So he did, because I knew Leon Bridges, I was connected with this other band called, oh, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Karongbin. Karongbin.
Wish I could help you with that one. I
think
don't think I can.
They're like some mix of like, I think the lady might be Japanese partially or something. I'm not sure why they have that strange name, but so yeah, they're really good, man. They're really good. And they have a Christmas song that I had found because I was just listening to their stuff. And that was one of those ones where I saved it, like you said, because I'm like,
How do you spell it?
oh, I'll forget this. KHRAU.
There they are.
Yeah. Karongbin. They have that very like bluesy, yeah, just chill. Leon Bridges, I mean, it's very similar to his style. Very bluesy rock. I'm trying to think of a band that's like them, but it's very like Texas rock would be how I would characterize it.
Yeah, like a bluesy
Like a
kind
mix
of
of
rock.
blues with like, yeah, with like, I don't know, edgier rock. It's blues rock. I guess that's just the best way of saying it.
Yeah.
But they have a Christmas one. Christmas Time is here, so I assume that's a cover. But
Saved. Cool. Well, are we movie TV games podcast, or are we a movie TV games podcast?
I don't know. Are we?
I mean, it's
You
really,
wouldn't be able to tell from this.
especially movies, man. Like, not only like first the movies were gone, like no movies to really talk about except for like streaming stuff, I guess. But then it's like movie news. There's like not a lot of movie news either. It's like, what's happening? Avatar 2 is
Yeah.
still coming out one day. I mean,
Yeah.
but whatever. Watching
Dark world for movies.
yeah, haven't been watching much. The Mandalorian, man. I mean, where are you at with Mandalorian?
I believe I'm up to date. That's, one of my watching things. So
Yeah, I mean, this last episode, it's great. It's good stuff with the
when did they come out?
Fridays.
Okay. So yeah, we should be up to date. We watched it last night. So
Yeah, the Jedi is the name of the episode, and man, really cool. It's like, I think this season is a step up. I think, just to see it and be like, wow, this is doing a lot of cool stuff. How did you enjoy that episode?
yeah, it's really good. It's one of those things where they were leading up to it and I kind of wanted a little more of a
Yeah,
conclusion. And, I mean, you knew you were going to be teased into the next thing, but I don't know. It felt like a lot of lead up and I wasn't completely satisfied how it feels like we're just going to move on from that. I wanted that to be a bigger thing, I guess.
there's a few strange things that they're doing that, like, you don't really see a show do this very often, where it's like they'll set up a bunch of threads and then he'll like peace out and be like, oh, we'll find out later, because like there's the whole thing with Bo-Katan. She's like, I gotta find that dark saber or whatever, and they're like, okay, see you later. And then we got like Ahsoka, sorry, a little minor spoilers here, but Ahsoka, and she's like, I gotta find Animal Thrawn or whatever. Like, okay, see you later. And so it's like, okay, that's gonna be something. So this isn't goodbye, obviously, but when are we gonna be able to get to this again? And so it's kind of interesting in that way, and sort of
I guess they're
strange.
just going to like explode everything together in the end at some point.
Maybe, but either way, very, very cool. Great episode.
Definitely.
Other than that, I mean, I haven't watched any movies. Like, I've been watching a lot of Community because I don't know, we just got in a Community kick and we're on like middle of season 2 already. Great stuff, but I platinumed Miles Morales. Not a bad experience platinuming it. Not super long to do. It took me like 22 hours of total gameplay time. I'm so glad I'm able to keep track of that now. Thank you, Sony, for finally adding that. Anyways, but the game I'm playing now is Sackboy's Big Adventure. I haven't talked about this one yet, even though I have been kind of playing it for the past like couple weeks. We got that at launch with the PlayStation 5, it being a launch game. It's one of those games that's cross generation, so it's a PlayStation 4 / PS5 game. It's so usually the Little Big Planet games are like more creation tools than they are actual like platformers, and this is the first time it's been like a kind of 3D platformer, and it's great. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. We're definitely gonna have to invest in another controller so me and Amber can play it together, because it has a lot of emphasis on co-op. But even alone, it's really good. It's, as far as the platforming, it's your basic platforming. It's nothing like, oh my gosh, it's crazy, they're doing things I've never seen before. No, it's not like that. It's just solid platforming. But the thing that I think does stick out, other than its visual style, is its music. Holy crap, is the music good. There's a lot of like licensed music in there, which I appreciate when a game does this sort of thing. I remember like one of the first games that comes to mind is Rayman Legends. They did that that one I'm talking about, where they focus the entire level around
I only played a little bit of it, but I know the game.
yeah, there's like basically it's all rhythm based, and you're like in this one level and you're just platforming, but it's going to the beat of Black Betty, bam bam, Black Betty, and it's just really cool. But they have a lot of these in Little Big Planet. There's one that's like I've come across a lot so far. There's like a ton. One of them was Uptown Funk. The other one was I don't even know who does that song, but the oh, it's a Friday. There in the there's tons of them, and it's so fun. And the music, a lot of times it's like a remix of it, but sometimes it's just this is the version And but either way, it's always so cool, and it mixes so well with the vibe of the game. But I'm enjoying it. Good platforming, not like amazing, but
Is this the fourth Little Big Planet game?
yeah.
Is that right?
If you were to count this as a Little Big Planet game, it would be the fourth.
Oh, so it's not technically.
This
a
is
Little Big
it's Sackboy's.
Sackboy's Big Adventure, but he is Little Big Planet, right?
He is. It's strange. It's almost like, imagine if Mario Maker came first, and then they came out with Super Mario World. You know, where it's like Mario Maker is like creation is the main focus, and gameplay is kind of secondary. It's kind of that with Little Big Planet, but here there's no creation. It's just we made a 3D platformer and we made it well, so have fun. And that there's no creation tools or anything like that. It's just a basic, straight up video game. But either way, I mean, again, I don't think it's like the most gorgeous game, even though it is aesthetically pleasing and it looks good, and I think it takes advantage of the DualSense really well. And yeah, I'm having fun with it. Definitely don't regret buying that one. So I recommend it for sure if you're into platforming adventure. And I haven't beat it yet, but I can tell it's going to be fun to complete because there's a lot of like collectibles and stuff like that too, where you can revisit levels and be like, oh shoot, secrets. And so yeah, good stuff. That's pretty much it, man. I mean, with all the driving, it's like, and just going back and forth. And
what you've been eating?
What I've been eating is that's not very interesting either. I mean, it was pretty basic Thanksgiving food, really. Ham, turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes. I know. Whoa.
That's original.
Really breaking down barriers here of what you can and can't eat on which holidays.
Reasons everybody eats those though.
Yeah.
They're good.
I know, very much so. But a lot of families will definitely say, like, when Christmas rolls around and they're just like, no, we're not eating that crap this time.
Sushi all around.
Maybe. I know my uncle will sometimes make like steaks. Amber's family does like pasta, like hardcore, like Italian food. But yeah, I don't know. How about you, man? What have you been watching / playing other than The Mandalorian, I guess?
Yeah, Mandalorian, watching a little bit of Schitt's Creek just because it's a hoot.
It is a hoot.
And still plugging through Cobra Kai. They're girthy episodes. I mean, they're like almost an hour long. So each one that's, they're pretty good size. Kind of the same as Mandalorian. It feels like you've kind of watched a movie. Or at least half a movie each time you watch Mandalorian.
So when you're streaming, it's like we can be whatever length we want. I kind of enjoy that, where it's like some episodes of Mandalorian are like straight up 30 minutes, and others are like, this is 48 or almost an hour. And yeah,
I like when you can tell something hasn't been edited for TV commercials as well.
Yes.
I find that so annoying when you're streaming something. It's like, and there's a commercial break.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek is definitely that way.
Absolutely.
Like, and here we're back.
Community too, where there'll be a joke and you'll be like, huh, bum, 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 bum.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
cut to black. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, not a lot else. I've been playing Xbox. So I thought everything was looking good. When I'm playing my Xbox, honestly, it's just, I feel spoiled. Everything loads so fast and gameplay's so smooth. But last night I was trying to go back into Modern Warfare and everything had been working fine. And buddy Jason gets on and I'm trying to join him. I'm trying to load up the game. And every time the game starts up, it gets to the connecting to the internet thing and then it just freezes.
Oh my God.
And so I restarted the game 3 times, didn't work. So I said, okay, well, we'll just play Halo. Halo works fine. Got into Halo, game freezes. And not only, actually before it froze, the screen would just go black. It's that compatibility issue that I was saying between the Samsung TV and the Xbox. And at one point, the Xbox just turned off completely unexpectedly. It just turned off again on me. I don't know what's up with that. So I went back, turned the Xbox on. This time I said, okay, I went into the Xbox settings and I changed it from 120 hertz to 60. that seemed to fix it.
Okay.
So far, it seems to have been fixed. It seems like maybe that 120 is like pushing the TV to its max or something.
Hmm.
I don't really know. None of it I'm very pleased about. So I don't know. But the 60 seems to work. Halo was able to come up. We were able to play. I was able to log in earlier today on Modern Warfare. It came right up, connected. It's like I said, it's so weird because everything loads super fast. It doesn't feel like there's any problems. It just, I mean, there are problems, but it doesn't seem like there's like issues with the Xbox itself. It's like it's a software thing, you know. It's like
Yeah.
when it's working, it's lightning fast, and when the TV's working, it looks great. And I've never had any problems with the Apple TV, and that's at 4K HDR. You know, I assume when you're streaming media over Netflix, HBO, all that baloney, it's simple because you know at the fastest you're doing 60 frames per second, and probably most things are 24 or 30, just because that's how things are filmed in Hollywood. And
Yeah.
you know, we actually kind of like it. Honestly, it's pleasing to the eye for a you know an old film buffs like we are.
Hmm.
So I'm sure it doesn't push the TV as much as it does when you're trying to play these games with the free sync enabled and the 120
Yeah.
hertz, and you got all this stuff loading in. And yeah, so there's like so many things that I'm so appreciative of, but just feel like maybe it's just bumps in the road of the new generation. I hope it's just that.
Hundred
I'm
percent.
trying to stay positive.
Yeah, I tended to be a little bit too positive. I sometimes forget about some of the issues I have too. Like honestly, that's how because I've had definitely had some with the 5. I haven't had any with the S actually. It's strange. It's actually been the smoothest, like smoother than the 4, the 1S, anything that's been so smooth. Just
One thing to speak to that, I was watching another Digital Foundry video. I think they were talking about Legion, and it was interesting. They were talking about, you know, basically PS5, Xbox Series X, they're basically identical. There
mhm.
really wasn't anything that interesting about it. It
Yeah, I
was
keep
just
hearing
like
that.
you go into the source code and it's there's nothing to see because they're both on ultra settings. So it's like the game is like not similar. It is the same game playing on two different systems.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me when they went into the code and compared it to the S. The S is actually set at medium settings. So
Hmm.
there's like a low, medium, high, and then ultra. So I almost feel like the S actually is being underutilized because they're like afraid to overpower it. So I think this is just me like making up a theory
No,
from what I've
no, it's
seen Digital
interesting.
Foundry talking about. It seems like if the S is at medium, that maybe it can handle a high, you know, it probably can't handle ultra, but maybe it could handle a higher setting. So when it's set to medium, like they were talking about, draw distances lessened, especially when you're looking at like reflections. I guess that's one of the coolest things about the next gen is like reflections actually show this crazy draw distance inside of like
Yeah, that is
mirrors
so
and
cool.
windows and stuff. And they were showing how much of a difference the S had in that. And when you look like down at like crap on the ground in the streets of the city, there's like so much more pixelation. Like
Mhm.
not so much that you would really notice, honestly. That's the crazy
Yeah.
thing. It's like we're so spoiled at this point. We're nitpicking these games that like, look, I zoomed in at 4x and look at the
Yeah.
difference between the pixels. It's like when you're actually playing this game, those things are kind of minor. But anyways, I was wondering, because I think these companies are probably trying to show off their hardware. They're pushing them to the max in these ultra settings. But then the S, it's like there's almost this thing where they're a little like scared because, you know, the numbers are less on the CPU,
Mhm.
that maybe they're playing it a little safer. And so maybe it's making it more of a rock solid experience for people.
Maybe.
I don't know. Just a
I
theory.
I'm very interested to see where the road kind of takes us with the S down the line. Because I have a suspicion that they haven't had much time with it. Is kind of my suspicion. I mean, it's gonna be a downscaled version no matter how much time they have, from the 5 and the X, obviously. But like I'm curious to see what kind of pans out for them. Like I'm curious to see what Halo Infinite looks and how vast is the difference,
Yeah.
if it is vast at all. But yeah, it's been a very smooth experience with that console. I mean, like I haven't been playing anything insanely graphics intensive but still, it's just been rock solid thus far. But yeah, I've had some issues with the 5 here and there, and it's the same issues. It's not like, oh man, this game isn't playing right or anything like that. It's just every now and then it'll crash. And that crash will come in a variety of ways. It'll be, oh, the game crashed, got to restart the game, or something like that. Or, oh, kind of similar to what you were talking about, the entire system crashed. And those are scary.
It's weird because I don't think that's ever happened to me on the last gen.
No. What is it? The SSD? Is that what the problem is? What's going on?
Maybe. No.
But it's just, you have a scary moment where the system like powers down and then it powers back on and you're like,
oh, mine doesn't power back on.
well, there was,
okay.
So when I say again, a variety of different ways, sometimes it had a couple times where it like put itself to sleep and woke itself up. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
But then I had time. No, it completely hard shut down. And I was like, what? And I had to reboot it. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah.
Thankfully there hasn't been a lot of stories out there. When you worry is when you hear, like we've been hearing a lot of stories of games crashing, systems resetting and stuff like that. A lot of stories like that. But thankfully there hasn't been any like system pandemics where it's like, oh, we're getting a bunch of bricked PS5s or bricked Xboxes or anything like that. So thankfully, because you'd hear about them. You'd freaking hear about them. If it happened to 5 people, it would be all over the place.
Journalists are anxious for stories, especially in the gaming community.
My God.
So they would love to write that.
I remember when I got the Switch, I was like, oh my gosh. Like all the stories I heard, I was like, oh my gosh, my dock's going to scratch my screen. My system's going to get warped from the heat. Oh my God. None of that stuff ended up really being a widespread thing. It was just like, when, systems new.
We need to write a story.
We need to write a story. If of course, if a new system is completely new, you get your system and something crazy happens, you're going to scream to high heaven. I would. Yeah. And then,
this thing's a piece of garbage.
Exactly. Especially when everyone is kind of looking at it with either anticipation or bated breath. Everyone's going to listen and elevate those voices. And so if there was some widespread thing of systems turning into dust or whatever, we'd hear about it.
Turning into dust.
Oh, just gone.
So an interesting thing happened, guys. My friggin' Xbox Thanos'd itself.
Remember my PlayStation 5? There it is.
I heard a small, quiet scream, and then it just...
But so the funny thing is there's been I want to tell this story for a little bit. There's because there's not that much news to talk about at all, if really any. There's not really any. Let's be honest with ourselves. But like, so hunting for the system and like the whole anticipation of, am I going to get the PlayStation 5 or am I going to get the Xbox One Series S? There's nothing fun about any of that. But I am having a little bit of fun tracking down some of these PlayStation 5 accessories that I was like, because they're scarce. Like there's one thing that I was really like, wow, I really wish I got that, was the charger for the controller, because otherwise, this is how you have to
like a dock?
It's a dock where you just basically sit your controller down and it charges. Yeah. But I did not anticipate this to be a Wario 64 thing, like a Wario 64 we need you kind of thing, for me to watch and be like, oh shoot, one's available. You know what I mean? I did not anticipate that. But
I was looking for the Microsoft Charge Kit for the Xbox, and it was a similar kind of thing where it was sold out. Yeah, absolutely everywhere.
The little things.
I just like bought a USB-C cord for my. Yeah. I'm just like, I'll just charge my old battery. It's fine, whatever.
It's one of those things where it's certain things you like with the DualSense. It's a little annoying because like you can't charge your you can't hook up a USB-C wire to the back of the system. It has to be from the front. And again, and that's ugly looking, but it's not only that. Again, I'll mention I have a cat, and that cat is a wire hunter who will go around, hunt for wires that he can destroy, that she can destroy. And so I was like,
that's awful.
Yeah. And so I had to do this weird thing where I'd like have to loop it around that, the PlayStation has horns. So I had to like loop it around and wrap it around one of the horns and, get it to where it's inaccessible for her. But And so, luckily though, I was able to find one, and it's kind of fun, to be like, oh, there it is. Oh, get it.
Where'd you get it?
I got it at Walmart, and it got shipped from via Walmart, and so yeah, it's one of those things because
Rusty old Walmart.
if you say so. When I got home, it came today. When I got home, well, I guess this is a FedEx problem. They put it in front of the wrong house or the wrong apartment complex, and I literally saw him when he dropped it off, and I went and grabbed it, and I was like, thanks.
That's mine.
That'll be mine.
Good thing you were there.
Exactly. God.
I've been gone.
Oh, shoot.
Would have had it on eBay 10 minutes after he got it in that door.
It's a DualSense charger. Get it.
Freaking score. Yes.
Okay, this kind of reminds me of something a little bit that's akin to a topic. It's kind of just us riffing about it, obviously, but so there's been a lot of stories about people scalping these systems horribly, like a few people getting thousands of them, like that kind of scalping.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, that's bad.
That guy in our town with the jewelry store.
Yes. What did he do?
I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
He could have a warehouse full of them.
I'm sure he had more than he should have.
Yeah, because it's a little bleak. I mean, honestly, I guess it's just, maybe we've been here before with say again, the Nintendo Wii or something, but Nintendo, they artificially create scarcity with their products. Others Sony, Xbox, they don't do that. That's not a thing they do.
That's such an annoying thing.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
It's the opposite of fan service.
Yeah, it's self-service.
Spitting in the face of fans.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so, yeah, we're at a point where it's man, because I anticipated maybe they're holding some back for Black Friday. But no, it turns out all those Black Friday ads that you saw that on the front page had a Series X and a PlayStation 5, they were there for decoration because there was definitely none in stores.
Yeah. It was the same thing it's been. It's every week or two, they'll be one day, okay, we'll have 4 of them. Everybody get online. And the crazy thing is, yesterday when I was at our Best Buy, when I was sitting there, I saw 2 PS5s be walked out to people.
Dang.
I was surprised to see that many.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do they have security guards?
Yeah. A guy with an AK-47 walked out, a titanium case chained to his leg.
Oh, man.
He was surrounded by 4 pit bulls.
That's, kind of what you need, I guess.
Here's your PS5.
Get him! Get him! Oh, shoot.
Do you have the 18-digit code to unlock this box?
There's sometimes I'll hear these stories and it almost makes me nervous to have one. You know what I mean? Where it's when you hear about people sleeping for 3 days or 2 or 3 days in front of a GameStop, you're like, holy crap. Jeez. Oh. Yeah. I better
I could have a pile of gold and then the Xbox and people would just take the Xbox.
Yeah, it's that point where you realize this is the most valuable thing in my house. You know what I mean? Where it's I have things that are valuable.
I could have a stack of money and people would still choose the Xbox.
Yeah, it's things that you could theoretically get. You know what I mean? Where it's even if you have money though, with the money to get it, it doesn't, you still can't.
Yeah. And that's what makes it valuable. Yeah.
And that, it's anyone can get my car if they have the money, or my computer if they have the money, but you can't get that. I'm not bragging. It's it's a weird feeling. It's
it could be Bill Gates, but it doesn't matter because
they're
sold out.
Well, I guess you could pay $1,000 to a scalper to get a Series X or a PlayStation 5.
Yeah. But even then, some of those people, you trust them?
Yeah, what did they do to your PS5? What did they do to it?
Maybe they 3D printed one and sent it in a box.
Did they pee in the
Filled
air
it
vents?
with sand. Here's a sand-filled 3D printed version of a Series X.
I knew something was wrong. Sir, my PlayStation 5 turned to sand. Sir, you bought a bootlegged copy of the PlayStation 5. It didn't turn to sand.
Your Xbox was sand when it arrived.
They sent you a sandcastle shaped like the Xbox Series X.
You get what you paid for, sir.
You really do. We're totally riffing about. Honestly, I'm just thinking about a lot of stuff that I've been wanting to talk about over the past like week or so. Have you had?
Stallone's in Suicide Squad.
Holy crap! I wonder who he's gonna be.
That's weird.
Is that what we're supposed to do? Is that what a podcast is supposed to be? Is he? I wonder if he's gonna be Captain Conehead. I don't know. It's like they're so deep cut with Conehead. Like these characters are so like obscure that it's like.
I think James Gunn has taken this whole Guardians thing maybe a little far with the new Suicide Squad.
Let's pick a character who's like only referenced once in an entire series of comics, and we'll make him a character.
This was teenage student in classroom scene during Spider-Man. Spider-Man 46.
Oh my god. So there's this weird thing where it's like I've only faced this once, but when it comes to like games that I want to play, I stop myself from playing them in the thought that there might be a next gen patch for it. Have you thought that ever?
Yeah. That's actually been something I've been thinking about with Cyberpunk coming up here soon.
Yes. Tell me about it.
Such a weird thing.
This is good. This is good. This is really relevant. Let's go.
We found something gold.
Let's dig it.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing that, this was supposed to be 7 months out before next gen console.
Yeah.
And then it was going to be 2 months, and now it's going to be a month afterwards, or a month, 6 weeks or something, like the middle of December. So yeah, it's such a strange thing, because even back when they announced the delays back in like April, I want to say, they were saying that the next gen version of Cyberpunk wasn't going to be out for, I think they said something like a long time or quite a while or something along those lines in the tweet by one of the developers. So that means, you are completely stuck for the foreseeable future with playing a Xbox One, PS4 version of Cyberpunk on your new console. So I think that's like the most reasonable one, where it's really frustrating to play an old version when you have this brand new console. Like you were saying about all the games, it's like, man, really? Like, I have all this power, I have all these frames, I have 4K, and I assume we're probably not going to be playing in 4K. I don't know. It's kind of hard to know, Don't feel like we know everything about how Cyberpunk's going to play on a next gen console. And then also, not to mention all the issues I've been having, which certainly don't get me too excited about playing last gen, games on my new gen console. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with you on that sentiment, where I just want stuff to work. And it really feels like it's kind of, honestly, my fears, I feel like, are kind of coming to fruition, where I kind of felt like this gen didn't feel like a next gen. Not that I thought the consoles were certainly worth being called next gen consoles, but it felt like there was so much of this. I don't know. It's this weird thing, because I've also said the opposite, where I'm so excited that all these games play on the next gen, but there's just all these issues. Enough has changed between the consoles that there must be issues with the developers where they're getting it to run. Because it's so weird for me to be able to play Halo 5 one night, and then the next night, like, I have all these issues getting it going. Modern Warfare won't start. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I have something going on, but it's strange that it works perfectly fine, and then all I do is go back to the same game, hit the button to play it, and it doesn't start up. So
regardless of whether or not it is just you, it shouldn't be that way either way,
Yeah, it seems like, well, what could I have done wrong? Because it was working.
Yeah.
So you would think it would work again. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. You want your next gen things to just power up. Everything works so well. It's this brand new experience. It's like, yes, I paid $500 and now everything works great. But it is technology, so there's problems, and that's kind of been frustrating. I remember, and maybe it's just me sugarcoating an old memory, but I remember with my Xbox One opening up, playing the new Call of Duty, and it was just like, this works so much better. This is like, oh, this is I absolutely don't even want to think about touching my old console. And I feel that way in some ways, but I'm also frustrated, and I don't remember being frustrated before. I remember just being like, this is just such a better experience. I'm so glad it looks so much better. Oh, it was so much better. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, maybe it is a thing of baggage where, we're very happy that we can load up our consoles and see, oh my gosh,
Oh
here's
yeah.
your library. It's 300
We wouldn't have a
games.
lot to play if
We
it
wouldn't
weren't
have
for
a lot to
that.
play.
So
And so, and every other console that I could think of, like, sure, like my Nintendo Switch ran like a dream. I mean, obviously didn't do 4K or anything. It was like, this is
yeah.
amazing. And like the home screen was the tile of games that you had. And I had one tile filled with Breath of the Wild. And so
Yeah.
it was amazing. It didn't have much to do though. I mean, that being said, and even with PlayStation 4, I was like, "Oh my god, Resogun." You know what I mean? For like the longest time. And so
Yeah.
maybe there is something to be said about, okay, here we go. We're going to do last gen, we're going to
Yeah.
do this gen. We're going to have 120 frames per second, native
It's a
4.
catch-22, isn't it? It
Yeah,
really is.
I think this gen might have a few more growing pains than the other. And so it's like, and then we have these games coming out where it's like, it's very strange where, I mean, obviously you've had it in the past where people would still develop games for the previous generation that are big. But can you imagine that of happening last gen? Like the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 are out the door. And here we go. We're having this giant game that's coming out. The PS4 and the Xbox One is out, but guess what? We're putting this one out on PS3 and Xbox 360. I know it's a little different because these new systems can run those older games, but it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is strange. I know this
What game
is,
were you talking about when you started
there's
this?
several games. There's several games that
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe a next gen patch will come. Like seriously, I keep thinking that. There's games I'm like, oh, maybe I'll replay The Last of Us Part 2. I'm like, but wait a minute. There's been some rumors about a next gen patch. And then I was like, okay, The Witcher 3. I still haven't beat that game. And I'm like, oh, they said CD Projekt Red said that there will be a PS5 and Series X version of this. But
CD Projekt Red, you need to
who knows?
stop worrying about The Witcher, and you need to figure out the freaking Cyberpunk.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, who's working on that?
Who's working on the next gen Cyberpunk? Because there needs to be more people working on it.
Yeah, and it's like now I have this feeling where it's like, man, if Cyberpunk comes out next week and I'm seeing reviews of it's a 10 out of 10 game, do I really want to start that game with the last gen version?
Yeah.
It's a strange thing to feel that way, and I know it's going to still be impressed probably with how it's going to look, but every second of playing it will be spent. I wonder how that's going to look with an update. I wonder how that's going to look with the update. And it's like, that's kind of weird. And I don't know if I want that to be my experience, even if it's amazing playing it the first time. I want the first time playing it to be like, wow, this is fantastic. Wow. Holy crap. This is how this game looks, instead of thinking about what it could have been or what it is going to be. It's a strange kind of thing that I don't think we've had to grapple with before. Sure, I mean, I guess you had the thing where it's like, oh, there's a cross-gen thing to happen with, say, Call of Duty Ghosts or whatever last gen, but that would be like, oh, if you already bought that version last gen or whatever, but it was a simultaneous launch from what I remember. So I don't know. It's a strange thing to have to wait for a next gen.
Yeah, version. It's something we've never dealt with, so that's what makes it weird too.
Exactly, and I wonder.
Never even had to think about this.
Yeah, and other PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games will continue to come out. I mean, I don't. I think that's just going to be a thing for a while. I mean, like I keep hearing about games here and there. Like, for instance, like
I feel like it should be though that it is a 5X game, and then there's also the downgraded version.
Yeah,
I don't feel like it should be a, hey, this is a PS4 game, but guess what? There's a new patch coming. It shouldn't be that.
It's strange that, I
Oh,
mean,
I guess that's wishful thinking.
did they not get one? Is that what's happening here? Is like, because it seems like every
Maybe.
developer would be like, okay, we're making the PlayStation 5 is going to be out on this date. When are we making our game to come out for? Oh,
Yeah, you've known this for a long
yeah,
time.
5 months after the next gen's out. Okay, so what are we developing this for? PS4. I'm like, wait, what? Well, it's okay. The PS5 and the Xbox One can play them, but why wouldn't we just no, we're making it for the
Yeah.
last gen. It's a strange thing. And, it's like there's certain games where it's like, can I really be that upset about it? I mean, am I upset that I'm not going to be playing Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, the rhythm game, and it's not going to be a PlayStation 5 version? No, of course not. But certain games like Cyberpunk, it does kind of stick out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hardcore, because this is the game everyone's talking about. I mean,
And there's things that go beyond, oh, Cyberpunk has ray tracing. There's certain things that go beyond that. Is the fact that when a game is the Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 version, that does mean it's benefiting for the load times. And so the
yeah.
whole load thing that's the thing now. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
It feels like this is kind of going to be like, I don't know, Skyrim or something, where it's
maybe.
like, I wish that Skyrim had been able to wait and come out like actually made for the Xbox One, PS4, but it was like this game that came out like literally the year before. And so it's always caught in this like, this is the ultimate 360 game.
Yeah,
Whereas it could have been this amazing launch title for what is now last gen.
that is
And
strange, isn't it?
how much longer that game would have been more relevant and looked better. Kind of like GTA was, but luckily they took the time and said, okay, we're going to make this up-resed, and I would say it was a significantly better game for Xbox One versus the 360 version of GTA 5.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of feels like that's what's going to end up being the way Cyberpunk is going to be. It's going to
Mhm.
be like, man, Cyberpunk, that was a great game, but only if they had designed that for the Series X, how much better could it have been?
I know.
I'm sure it's going to be great,
Mhm.
but it's going to be the ultimate game for our last gen. That's what it's going to be. This is the pinnacle of what Xbox One and PS4 could ever have done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, yeah,
It
I'm
would have made an amazing launch title.
absolutely. I'm at that point where it's like, I didn't think I was going to be at this point so soon, but I am, like, come next year, I'm going to be dumbfounded at like some of these big games. I'm like, why is this coming out for the PlayStation 4? It's like thinking about like Horizon Forbidden West, finding out that that's a cross generation game. I'm like, really? I mean, the original Horizon looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to look even better, especially playing on the 5 or whatever. But I'm like, man, but you have to make that work on the base PlayStation 4. Like, you have to
Yeah.
make that work. I'm sorry, that does not come without sacrificing it on the high end too. It just it
Well,
doesn't, or having the PlayStation 4
I
version
don't.
being a disaster.
This is a conversation we've had for a while. I don't know if I completely agree with that sentiment. I think the problem is that if you started from the beginning designing for the high end, then I don't think it would cost at the high end. I think you could make a lesser version pretty easily, but I don't think that's what they did. I think they've always been designing for the Xbox One and PS4. And
Hmm.
I think because of that, I think the high end's definitely going to pay a toll. And I think that's what's frustrating, at least in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a
Of
developer, so I
course.
don't know for sure. I'm just guessing here, but at least that's been the sentiment from Microsoft. And I tend to agree. I think it could look okay, but it's like you said, did they not have a development kit early enough? This is a game that's probably been in development for 5 years or more. You know,
Yeah.
however long it's been. I'm sure it's been crazy long, and it's a huge game. I mean, you can tell by the delays that it's really hard to develop for this, but
Yeah, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Unlike, say, the PlayStation 4 and the base PlayStation 4 and the base Xbox One, I'm sure it'll look fine, and it'll look much better on the next gen consoles, especially when
yeah,
when the next gen version comes out. But it's like there's gonna be a
whenever
point,
that is.
yeah, whenever that is. But there's going to be a point where it's like, why did you even like once they start like saying, okay, we're starting to make this game now or close to now, but we're gonna put them out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. There's gonna be a point where I'm like, why did you even bother? Like
Yeah, it's like that's a good point. If you think now, like let's say somebody started developing right now, they developed Skyrim and they said, okay, we have a 6-year timeline. You have to start thinking even now, it's like, what is even going to be out at that point? Because
yeah,
6 years from now, the Series X and the PS5 are going to be, oh, they're going to be pretty old, So it's going to be like, I'm sure there's a Series XS and a
yeah.
PS5 Slim HD version or whatever. So yeah, how much better are those going to be? And then even then, it's going to be like, well, at that point, you're probably only a couple years out from the next console. So
Mm-hmm. That's right.
yeah, it's a weird thing with development because it's always so far out, and you can only develop for what you know about you. So yeah, I see how CD Projekt Red was in a tough spot. But
Yeah, absolutely.
5 years ago, they wouldn't have had a development kit. There was no way for them to even think about that kind of thing. So it's a weird thing.
100%. And I'm really thinking about games like Fable, and I'm thinking about games like God of War Ragnarok, which you don't know if that's going to be on last gen consoles or not yet. But it's this weird thing where it's like you're trying to advance things so far, and it's like I know you want to have customers that are still have their Xbox One launch edition or still have their PlayStation 4 that they got at launch, but it's like there's going to be at a point where you're either going to sacrifice what you can do in the newer systems, or the older ones will be so compromised where it's like, why did you even bother doing this? Like they came out with a version of Outer Worlds on the Switch, and I was like, why'd you even bother doing this? Like this is awful looking. Why did you even bother? Like it looks like, sure, I can play it on the go, but why would I want to do that with this?
That's what I heard about The Witcher as well. It was such a downgraded experience on Switch.
It's so downgraded where it's like, why'd you even bother doing this? I mean, it took effort, I'm sure, to get this game on the Switch, but why did you even bother? It's like, it's almost like a novelty. It's like when you see Doom running on a calculator, it's like, it's great that someone was able to figure this out, but at the same time, why
is going to do that?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love my Switch. I love a lot of the third-party games that come out, but not every game is right for the Switch because of its technical abilities, and I think that's going to be the case with Xbox One and PlayStation 4 2 years or maybe even a year from now. And I think Microsoft and Sony might be underestimating the shift that's occurred. We've talked about this, the shift that's occurred in the popularity of video games and how much people want video. This is going to be the biggest console launch ever for both companies.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that they did not expect are going to be transitioning away from previous gen into this one.
Yeah, honestly, it would have been weird if it hadn't been the biggest, because it's like,
yeah,
you're dealing with the largest market ever in video games. So,
mm-hmm.
a blind squirrel finds a nut. So it's like, guys, like you would have had to screw up pretty bad to not have huge launches, because you're in a pandemic where everyone's sitting at home with nothing to do except play video games.
Yeah.
And people were already playing video games in a bigger way than they've ever been playing. So, duh.
Uh-huh.
All you have to do is get them made fast enough and shipped to us. That's the only thing holding them back right now.
Precisely. And I think I think everyone can adjust and everyone can like see the trends or whatever, but I don't know. Just get the ball rolling with this. Like we're in it now. We're in it. Everyone's ready to be in it. The people who can find a console at least.
Yeah.
I think are.
And I will say it's a huge upgrade. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It just, everything works so much better. It just, the loading alone to me has been the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, everything loads so fast. The Xbox starts up so much freaking faster than it used to.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from a vanilla Xbox One, so it's probably more dramatic to me. It's like the guy who's like has an iPhone 3 and then he gets an 11 and he's like, what is this foreign object I'm holding? alien technology.
That's why I was bummed that you were having like so many like hiccups, especially at the
I know.
beginning, because I was like, oh man, he's going from a base Xbox One from a
Yeah.
1080p screen to a freaking Xbox Series X on a
Yeah.
4K display. Holy crap. And then it
Yeah.
was like
And I
kind of
mean, I
sullied.
love it. It's just that there's these things that just, they tick you off. So it's
Yeah, of
hard to not
course.
be frustrated. So, but I mean, overall, I mean, I'm super excited. I was just looking up some articles about Cyberpunk and they were saying that it works really well. I guess it looks really good. They're saying
Good.
even though we're playing an old generation, it still looks really good. So they're
Yeah.
saying next gen patch is coming 2021. So yeah, I think I remember a tweet from one of the developers saying it would be a while. So maybe summer, you know, what my guess would be.
And it's like, it's funny because like that upgrade is going to be free with the regular edition. So how heavily discounted is if you're going to wait, say we wait on the next gen version, how heavily discounted is that game going to be at the time? Are you going to be able to pay $30 and then you're going to have the PlayStation 5 Xbox Series X version?
For some reason, I thought they'd said something about smart delivery, but
No, I mean like
I don't know.
it will be free if you own it, but I'm saying like you could buy it now for $60 and you then like later on that smart delivery happens and you download the next gen version, or like for instance like Watch Dogs Legions came out like a month ago, maybe even less,
Yeah.
and it was fully $60, and here we are on Cyber Monday
Well,
and
70.
it's $30 to get freaking Watch Dogs Legion, and that gets you the next gen version, whichever one you get.
Ubisoft
So
didn't up their prices. They didn't make them 70.
no, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's going to be just who's going to be doing that, but I think the games that are like that have have a last gen version, I think any game that has a last gen version, unless they make you pay for an upgrade, will be 60 or less or whatever.
I think GTA stayed at $50, $60 for a long time though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Cyberpunk could very well be the next version of GTA 5, the next game that like people just keep playing for years and years. I mean, The Witcher's a little bit like that. It's still pretty relevant even though it's pretty old. I think 2015, I want to say 2016,
It is
something like
interesting
that.
to track like why certain games are discounted the way they are, even if they're a runaway success. Like games like God of War, huge success, critical and financial success. That game is on sale right now for $8.99 on Amazon. It's
Yeah.
crazy how, and the same thing that happened with like Uncharted and like Kingdom Hearts 3. A lot of these games go on sale, but then as you said, there'll be games that stay at a pretty like sizable price for a long time, like The Witcher 3, which is the third party game as well.
I think it's because they're kind of so The Witcher 3 was a game that got at least 2 expansions to it.
That's true.
So they were adding to it, and something like The Last of Us is a single player story that, stays relevant for a short period of time and
Mhm.
gets a lot of praise and wins awards. And this is nothing to say anything negative towards it. It's a short-lived game,
Yeah.
in the eye of people. And whereas GTA 5 is this living world that Rockstar brings people in and kind of keeps them there, and
Mhm.
it has this replayability that just goes on and on. Now 7 years down the road, it's still relevant and people are still playing it. And they've put out a lot of updates. So the last of it, they put it out there, it makes its ripple and it's gone. And
Yeah, and the same thing with Uncharted 4 and stuff like that. Yeah, single player games, I
so
guess.
many of those games.
Yeah, very true. And so we'll see. We'll see how it happens. It's a strange thing. Like it shocked me. I was like, Watch Dogs Legion's $30? What?
I heard a lot of bad things about that game though.
I'll say this: I haven't really heard anything great about it.
I think that might be part of it.
I think that might be part of it too. That is a bad thing in and of
They
itself.
put a lot of powder behind that bullet too.
Yeah.
Ubisoft. I noticed every one of my Ubisoft games had like the pig head on it, like as part of Legion.
They did like the Deadpool
every
thing.
Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, The Division, all my logos of games all had that. I'm like, what is going on? And some reason it dawned on me. I'm like, I bet that's a Legion thing, isn't it? They're trying to promote it even in the little box art for their old
Yeah.
game.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they see like critical reception down the line and say, let's discount this early so a bunch of people we get it can get it, so maybe we can recoup some loss, like Avenger style, maybe.
I hate seeing it happen, but I don't know. If you don't put out something that people want, that's what's going to happen.
That's what's gonna happen. But hey, if you want a game that has some ray tracing in it in a fancy next gen version, $30. There you go. I don't think I'm gonna get it, but you know, hey.
Yeah, I'm guessing Valhalla wasn't $30.
Absolutely not. It was
That got great reviews.
it was like 50 or something like that. It was discounted by like $10. So yeah, no, definitely not.
It's like the sales. You can just tell just by reading the little Target flyer which games got good reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this game came out. They both came out 2 months ago, and one of them is discounted 75%.
Which game's selling well? Well, I'm guessing Cold War isn't doing bad because there's no sales
Because
on
it's
it.
0 sales.
Activision has no fear that they're going to make plenty of money.
Nope, absolutely not. By the way, have you played the single player on that one yet?
I still have not.
Okay, tell me how that one is.
I usually
when you
jump
do.
right into it, but I have not yet.
That
I
looks
need
really
to.
fancy. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, Modern Warfare looks so good, so I assume that. And I enjoyed Modern Warfare so much. It was great single player. I need to play this. I don't know if I'm going to like this setting as much, but I need to just give it time. Let's see what happens.
Give the old college try. But yeah, you know what? This has been probably one of our most improperly packaged episodes
That's right.
that we've had. We've just been all over the place. But you know what? It's whatever, man. I mean,
Cyberpunk has a multiplayer game and it's not arriving until 2022.
are you kidding me? It's like a multiplayer version that they're
That's
sort of working
insane.
on.
I guess you'll be running around GTA 5 style around the Cyberpunk world.
Blasting people, yeah. Are you getting that at launch? That's next week.
Definitely.
Okay, so
I'm
next
definitely
week
getting that.
you will have some. Okay, wait.
I can't believe it's already next week.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting on that tweet.
Stop it. No. We won't. Okay, so we won't be talking about next week, but the week after on the that week's episode, you'll have something to say about Cyberpunk. I'm gonna wait probably on that one a little bit, depending on what you have to say. It's all about you, Luke.
Oh, I can't wait to play that game. I'm so excited. I realize I'm reading a article from June.
Oh my god.
Just reading random articles about the next gen stuff, and
I wonder how many.
This is a little old.
I wonder how many articles have been written about Cyberpunk 2077.
All the articles, all of them.
Probably 2077 at least.
I'm so excited. It just looks so good. It looks like something that's right up my alley.
Well, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it for sure. It's going to be, I'm trying to think of like a game, like the next new game that I'm going to get. I don't know what it's going to be. Like, honestly, like looking ahead, maybe like, I don't know. Like what's coming? Like we're heading towards the end of the year. What's coming?
Far Cry looks really good.
Far Cry does look good. I mean,
Far Cry's like in February, I think, or March or something.
It's a lot sooner than I thought, actually. Cool.
I think it was in the beginning of next year.
You think that after Cyberpunk, is that the next one you're looking towards?
That might be. I mean, it's like you said, I can't really remember. It seems like we still have a lot of things that are pretty far off. So
yeah.
I mean, Halo is the one I'm always holding my breath for.
Of course. Don't hold your breath too much, though.
Yeah.
Because you might pass out.
You suffocate, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see a release date for it. I don't say.
A release date for what? Far Cry 6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do not
know.
know.
It just says 2021.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see.
I thought they had said it was in the spring, but
I mean, that feels right. That feels right, but I don't know. But anyways, we should probably wrap up.
Okay, the game was scheduled for release on February 18th.
Oh, okay.
So I guess maybe they've changed that.
Or they said maybe. Maybe. We changed it into maybe. We'll see. Depends on how good you behave.
This looks so cool. I mean, it's cool to have like a big name actor in there, like playing a dramatic role.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see them and you're like, ooh, there's something about that, especially because of how well they do it now, where it's like, that really does look exactly like that person. That is kind of crazy. So that is cool.
It is confirmed. Ubisoft said February 18th.
Oh, very nice.
So
You don't, okay, you don't have to behave yourself that much. You don't have to buy 2 copies of Valhalla. How many copies of Valhalla did you buy?
Like Sony did.
1. No Far Cry for you.
I've bought a lot of Ubisoft games, so I think I should be on that list.
I think you deserve
Between all
it.
the Divisions and all the Rainbow Sixes. Yeah. I have supported Ubisoft a lot.
I think you deserve a Far Cry 6, Luke.
They do make a lot of games that I enjoy. I mean, Assassin's Creed, yeah. They have a good lineup. That would be one I would like Microsoft to buy.
There you
That
go.
would never happen.
No.
And actually, it's probably better it doesn't. We need good third-party
One
games.
of the bigger third-party
Yeah.
developers. Before we wrap up, Luke, you got any Christmas stuff planned ahead? You got any Christmas movies you're looking to watch?
God bless us, everyone. Is that what you mean?
I don't know.
I still haven't watched that. What's the name of that friggin' Netflix movie? Christmas Chronicles?
Oh, Christmas Chronicles.
Christmas Chronicles 2.
Yeah, Kurt
I
Russell.
still haven't watched the second one. With Tyrese?
What? He's in that?
He's in the poster I saw last night. I'm like, Tyrese? Is it Too Fast, Too Furious style? He gets in the second version of all these movies?
2 Christmas, 2 Chronicle.
We need that gingerbread, man. Pockets ain't empty.
Pockets ain't empty more, brah.
We need more gingerbread.
I plan on watching that Jingle Jangle Christmas musical thing, but I don't know. We'll get to it.
Jingle Jangle?
Yeah, it's called
What's
Jingle
that?
Jangle. I don't know. I don't really
There's
even
a
know.
Mariah Carey special on Apple TV Plus. I think I'm going to watch that at some point.
All right.
Probably just her singing her song over and over and over. Like it plays in every big box store in the world during Christmas.
I feel like one of the more recent ones that's like trying to out Mariah Carey is that it's God, what is it called? It's really popular and it's original. It's like, Santa, tell me, are you really there? Yeah. That's one of the ones where I'll walk in and I'll hear that very often walking to Target or whatever.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna.
I don't know who sings that.
I don't either. Maybe that's the problem.
There's a lot of good ones. Yeah.
I'll probably watch the Dolly Parton Christmas special on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Bethany will watch that as well. So, she loves Dolly Parton.
I become this. Like I don't do the whole like let's hate watch some Hallmark movies. I'm not that kind of person. But when Christmas rolls around, give me all that crap. Give it to me. I'll take the Christmas Prince 4 or whatever, or the Christmas Switch or whatever's going on. I'll take it all. And I'm ready for it.
I can't quite go that far. I can't wade into those waters with you, Jordan.
Many a can't. For these waters are treacherous, but
many a can't.
Yeah, I don't even know what I mean by that, but baking some brownies, having some adult beverages, and turning on the latest Vanessa Hudgens Christmas movie on Netflix is quite the experience. I've seen some stuff, man. I've seen some stuff.
I've seen some stuff.
There was one called The Holiday Calendar. I barely made it out of that one. That one was oof. Ooh. That one hurt me a little bit. Most of them.
I don't even know what to say to all this, Jordan. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Jordan.
When you're holding the remote, shaking with your finger above the stop button. Don't do it.
I'm not sure veterans would be okay with you saying I've seen some stuff.
Do they have the
too many gingerbread cookies and milk?
Too many love triangles.
Too many green leaf chocolate cookies.
Ugh. Those are never good anyways.
It's the season, as they say.
I suppose. But we'll see you guys next week. This has been an episode.
We should go.
We should get out of here.
We're sorry.
See ya.
See ya.